It wasn't vanity. It was mental health, it was body dysmorphia. That's what it was. She didn't see what we see.
Under the knife and miles from home.
And he said to me, Leonie, I'm not going to lie, they've butchered your mum.
The Scottish Government and the NHS have warned Scots not to travel abroad for cosmetic tourism, but not everyone has listened.
Do you think the risk is worth taking?
No, personally, I think the risks are too high.
Since 2019, 26 people from the United Kingdom have died after having surgery in Turkey.
It's a nightmare. It's just a horror story of botched mistakes.
There's endless mistakes.
It is about 3 times cheaper to have this procedure done in Turkey than it would be to have it done here in the UK.
How are you? It's really lovely to meet you too.
Welcome to Turkey.
We follow one woman's journey to Istanbul for major surgery.
I don't have any doubt about it. I know the risks. I want to just feel a sense of freedom with my body that I've not ever had.
Welcome to a special edition of Scotland Tonight. I'm Vanessa Taff and I'm here in Istanbul where we're investigating the true cost of beauty.
It's the height of summer in Istanbul. The sun is bouncing off the historic Hagia Sophia Mosque. Inside, there's hundreds of people admiring the building's beauty. The shopping districts are packed. But the signs of one of the local economy's biggest moneymakers are everywhere.
More than 1 million people from across the world came to Turkey last year as medical tourists, and that figure is expected to double this year. Now, for the Scots who come here, they don't get to see any of this rich culture and heritage. Instead, they're recovering in hospitals and hotel rooms, which are all part of their package deals.
The advertising is mostly done on social media.
If you've ever thought about getting your nose done in Turkey, let this be the only video that you'll ever need.
A few hours in the doctor's office and just 2,000 euros to get it done. My life has changed forever.
You know, it's my face and I want to make sure everything is looking great.
And I know what everyone's thinking, don't go to surgery, but
super happy with my results. Like, I really am.
For some, it's about achieving physical perfection. But for others, it's more than that.
So I noticed when I was really young that I was carrying a lot more weight in my midriff. And I started to become really aware and really self-conscious about it, which I think is quite normal for young girls. Everything feels very embarrassing. It's just that as I got older, that never really left me.
Zara Janjua is a journalist and broadcaster.
Hiya, David.
Good to have you.
I know. Well, there sure is lots going on. The worldwide success story.
She's used to telling other people's stories, but her insecurities about her stomach is a story she's never shared before.
I started to, really worry about it when I was in relationships, and it became quite a big issue. And I think, ex-boyfriends even mentioned things about it and sort of said, why don't you do a few more sit-ups, or, if we could help you lose a bit of weight.
8 years ago, Zara looked into getting a tummy tuck in Scotland. The surgery involves removing a large chunk of the fat and skin around the abdomen. It was going to cost her around £11,000.
If I wanted to have children, I needed to wait until I'd had kids, because it was probably not going to be ideal to have the surgery and then have that area stretched again. And now I'm 38 and I still don't have children, and I'm also now wondering, what on earth am I waiting for, and why have I been continuing to feel this way, just self-conscious and self-aware about something. I've had it all my life. I felt like this all my life.
Cosmetic surgery costs in Scotland and Turkey are starkly different. You can get a tummy tuck in Turkey for as little as £1,400. Back home, you're looking at anywhere between £4,000 to £8,000. For a full facelift in Turkey, people are likely to pay between £2,000 to £5,000. In Scotland, The starting rate can be around £10,000.
Turkey was a place that really stood out because I was aware of some of the hospitals out there and the reputation they have. So I really wanted an honest conversation with a surgeon to find out what some of the risks are.
I always categorize the complications into two: hematoma, fluid accumulation under the skin, seroma, some wound dehiscence.
I mean, all quite serious, really.
This is the fact of the surgery, obviously.
Yeah. What would you say to anybody who says, you're a beautiful woman, why are you putting yourself through this?
It's not something you take lightly. I have done so much research into this. I really love the way I look. I really love the way I am. I'm just a bit hung up on a part of my body.
I'm on a very early flight and didn't really sleep that well with the nerves and excitement. I've come alone because it seemed like a lot to ask my friends and family, but actually now that I'm on my way, I'm thinking it would be quite nice to have some company with me at this point.
Thousands of Scots have made the same journey as Zara, like Carol Keenan from Fife.
She was loud, singing, dancing.
She never sat still.
Yeah, she never sat still. She was just a kind, generous, warm person. And you always knew when she was in a room, she just lit up a room when she came in a room. She always wanted to do stuff. Good company. Except when you're watching a movie, she talked a lot.
Oh, she'd fall asleep.
Well, she'd fall asleep. We did films in instalments, like 15-minute breaks.
Oh, gosh.
It took 3 days to watch one film.
Early last year, Carol found Klinika on Instagram, a Turkish health tourism agency that connects people with cosmetic surgeons. Carol mostly spoke to Klinika over WhatsApp. By April, she was on a flight to Istanbul.
Did Carol do much research before she went?
Not sort of in-depth research, just what's on TikTok, WhatsApp and that. She did look at some stuff, but they paint a picture. To them, it's just like selling a car, selling windows. You're a commodity.
No, it's one out, one in.
Yeah, it's a production line.
Yeah.
Making mega money, a lot of money.
Damn, we're taking pictures of me. Say cheese. Oh, why? Because it's all really nice. You feel like that, you're beautiful.
Carol had the same surgery as Zara, a tummy tuck and a Brazilian butt lift.
So when she'd phoned me later, obviously after all her surgeries had happened, she said to me that, they offered me a free surgery and it's to make my tummy tuck more defined, it gives me a better finish. Shouldn't be offering that when she's on a table getting ready to go down.
Carol spent 3 nights in hospital. She then took a taxi back to her hotel. Stevie claims that's where the care stopped. He gave her medicine, fed her and emptied the drains filled with the fluid from her wounds.
There was a guy came out, but he just came to sort of check the dressings once, and a nurse girl. Then she came, I hated that as well, because she kept pushing for, is it lymphatic?
Lymphatic massage.
Massage, to push all the, and she kept pushing like a saleswoman as well. And Carol's like, I'm too sore. I'm like, well, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. And then she eventually did on the last day.
On the 20th of April 2022, 6 days after Carol's 3 surgeries, everything changed.
When did you know something wasn't right?
She got up, she had a shower, we took all the drains out, we said we could take it down. She actually got dressed for the first time. Really, she looked great and she felt great. We were going in the taxi to take us back to the clinic so they could say if we could fly or not. And then we were on the lift, we were chatting, she was so happy. And she just went to step inside the taxi and she just said, oh, Stevie. And she just collapsed. It was just a normal collapse. And I was just screaming for help, to be honest.
On the way to the hospital, Carol went into cardiac arrest.
And a doctor came out and said, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. I'm like, sure about that? And then maybe 20 minutes later, the doctor came out and sorry, she's actually gone. That's the worst day of my life.
On what would have been her 56th birthday, Carol's family celebrated their doting gran, beloved mum and partner.
Last year we decided to make a wee tradition of doing pancakes. Pancakes is something she loves.
Who wants one?
Carol's 8 grandchildren have fond memories of her.
She'd pick them up for school for me, she'd give them their tea, walk them home, take them weekends. There wasn't a day that went past that they didn't hear from their gran.
We are following a young woman who has gone over for the same procedure as Carol. What would you say to her?
Don't do it, don't go. Look at us, you know what I mean? Look, the family broken, devastated, you know, someone lost for no real reason. It could have been stopped, it could have been changed, something could have been done.
Behind me is Acıbadem Ateşehir Hospital, one of the largest private hospitals in Turkey, and it's also where Zara will be getting her tummy tuck done. Globally, Acıbadem owns 24 hospitals and 19 of them are here in Turkey. Now, last year, international patients alone brought in £93 million for the company.
Hello. Hi.
Finally.
How
Nice
are
to
you?
meet you. How are
It's
you?
really
Thank
lovely
you.
to meet you
Welcome
too.
to Turkey.
Thank you so
Welcome to
much.
Istanbul.
This is the first time Zara's met her surgeon in person. It's also going to be the last time they see each other before her surgery.
We're gonna take some pictures, some 3D images.
Even if they've travelled halfway across the world, Professor Sashak is adamant that if a patient doesn't meet the requirements to have surgery, they'll be heading right back home again.
What concerns me is the health tourism and the pressure of the companies who are bringing patients to Turkey. It's getting cheaper and cheaper, and the more cheap it gets, the quality tends to get lower and lower, which ends up with more complications.
For major surgery like a tummy tuck, providing reassurance that everything is going to go according to plan isn't always possible.
When we are talking about surgery, we can never guarantee that everything's gonna go fine, nothing's gonna go wrong. But some surgeries are just safer and quicker. Rhinoplasty is one of the surgeries that we perform a lot. So you need to stay in Turkey for about 7 to 10 days.
That would be considered a long time to stay, 7 to 10 days.
To the health tourism standards, it's considered to be a long period. But
do you think, professionally speaking, it's long enough?
Professionally speaking, no, it's not long. It's just enough. I wish I could have the patients more for a longer time.
Do you feel you're maybe compromising some safety because people are leaving quite soon after major surgery?
For me? No, I don't think so. I'm a little bit paranoid for the patient. You know, I want to take care of the patient as long as possible. That's what I mean.
It's the morning of Zara's surgery. The check-in process is swift.
Oh my goodness, looks like a hotel. Apart from the patient bed, obviously.
You have any operations before? Tonsillectomy?
But well remembered.
Yeah.
You know my entire history now.
After a rundown of what's going to happen in the surgical suite, Professor Sashak outlines the area of Zara's stomach he's about to operate on.
A reminder that this is not a holiday. It's all very real, and there's a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety, but you know, lots and lots of excitement about what's going to come. I was sort of saying goodbye to my tummy last night and just sort of thinking, isn't it lovely that, you know, it's going to be very different, that part of my body from now on.
Do you feel you know exactly what you're about to get into now?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot more skin being removed than I had anticipated, and also just the kind of aftercare, having like a catheter in I hadn't really considered, and all the little things. I don't think there are going to be any surprises.
This is major surgery, and Professor Brulant is going to start by making a large incision in Zara's tummy, and then removing the excess fat from there. And it's a procedure that'll take about 4 to 4.5 hours to complete.
Oh, it's tough. I think if you realised just how traumatic the surgery was going to be, potentially you would reconsider it. Yeah, this part is really much harder than I thought it was going to be. I can't really bring myself to look at the wounds just yet. They've cut 25 centimetres across my lower abdomen and vertically as well. Yeah, it was a tough one today.
Recovering from cosmetic surgery can take months. But what's concerning Scottish health officials is if there are complications, it can take a lot longer.
So if we have a look at Claire's abdomen, we can see the area of delayed wound healing, which has resulted in skin tethering and scarring on the lower right-hand side.
A year ago, Claire, which is not her real name, had a breast reduction, tummy tuck and liposuction in Turkey. Both Claire and Carol went to a different hospital, to Zara.
What was it like when you woke up in the hospital in Turkey after having the surgery?
Horrendous. I woke up screaming, absolutely screaming and yelling for my daughter. And they let me home after 3 days with a fit to fly. Absolutely no aftercare.
A week after returning home, Claire's open wounds began to bleed. She was rushed to A&E.
All of this, I was in for 13 days. I was home for 5. Then I was back because I had a big blood bubble and it burst. And it actually burst when I was paying for my daughter's wedding dress. And it ran right down the floor.
The British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons told Scotland Tonight from 2018 to 2022, 324 people returned home with complications from cosmetic surgery abroad. They say each patient is costing the NHS around £15,000. On return home, the NHS will help with life-threatening wounds and infections, but they won't offer corrective surgery.
I can't praise the NHS enough. I was never done seeing how sorry I was to be wasting their time and money. They were using me, they could have been using somebody else. I probably wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for them. Yeah, I thought I was going to come at size 12. And really at 52-year-old, I should have known I wasn't going to have a figure of a 25-year-old anyway.
Claire sought legal advice, but was told there wasn't anything that could be done.
How much did you pay for your surgeries?
5,500.
And now that you've come back, you've been essentially left with a botched body. What kind of costs are you facing to fix that?
I've been 8,000 to fix my boobs just now. My stomach, probably anywhere between 12 and 15.
So over 20 grand?
Mm-hmm.
Claire and many others are now turning to private clinics, like Cosmetic, for corrective surgery. However, most clinics will refuse to fix people's botched body parts until their wounds have healed.
More and more individuals are developing complications, and there doesn't seem to be a good safety net for those individuals in the countries that they visit. I think the aftercare is where problems are picked up. So I think if you pick up a problem early and you have appropriate people involved, you can correct the problem, you can deal with it when it's relatively minor. If it's ignored or inappropriate treatment is provided, then often things will escalate.
That must be a massive concern for you as a medical practitioner to peer these people.
Very much so. It is a great concern, and it's something that we are, at the moment, we don't have any answers for that.
In 2019, the Turkish government set up USHAS, a specialist organisation within the Ministry of Health that manages and promotes medical tourism. USHAS expects that by 2025, more than 10 million people will visit Turkey for surgeries every year.
It is not a good idea to tell to Scottish people not to come to Turkey. Why? They will say because Turkey is a good place to take care of every kind of treatment in the state-of-the-art technology and with the good professionals with affordable prices.
By law, patients must sign individualised consent forms before undergoing any surgery in Turkey. Locals have to pass a psychiatric assessment before getting to that stage.
That's just for Turkish citizens. Would you consider that for international people?
For the international patients, you cannot ask it.
Do you think they should?
Maybe they will have to ask it from their country because it's a process. You can't do it in 1 day, in 2 days. Personally, as a doctor, yes. I think it could be a part like a Turkish or international patients because some of the persons, they are asking some surgeries who don't need to be done.
Families who've lost loved ones want to see action.
The Turkish government to be held accountable, some sort of issues that they could put in place to help families like us not go through this and stop calling it tourism. I don't know where that comes from, it really irritates me. It's not tourism at all. We know it can happen over here as well, but you have aftercare, you have people that care, people look after you. Over there they don't look after you.
Can it really be called tourism when people are dying?
As a doctor, I don't prefer to use the tourism. If there is a severe medical issues, that means that this is a patient. International patient treatment is a very complex because there are many sides of it. You cannot ask to solve all the problems from the country who give just the treatment.
We asked Carol's surgeon, Dr. Can Zelia Gül, if she takes any responsibility over her patient's death. She never responded. We also reached out to Clinica many times to see if they would meet with us for an interview in Istanbul. They never replied. But they did tell a newspaper we cannot answer health questions because we're not doctors. All patients sign papers explaining what the risks of an operation are. Every operation is a risk, no matter how small.
We received our autopsy just after the first anniversary. We did receive it.
That took over a year.
It gave us answers that we need, so we know that our death was due to the surgeries. However, it's still not 100% clear of what actually happened, but it does state that if she hadn't had them, she'd still be here.
Even if someone has travel insurance, most policies will not cover the cost of fixing botched surgery. Carol had insurance which covered the cost of bringing her body home. Despite that, the process was a nightmare for her family.
The government run a service. You tell them once about the British person that's passed away, and then they will go through everywhere and let them know, so you don't have to do each step yourself, like from your doctors to your bank, if they were on benefits or not, whatever. They kind of do it all, shut down everything for you. Whereas because my mum passed away abroad, it's a Turkish death certificate, so she wasn't entitled to that service. So it was, maybe as a smaller job as that seems to some, Stevie and I had to try and think about everything.
The service Leonie is referring to is called Tell Us Once. The UK government said people who die abroad are eligible for this service, but they wouldn't comment publicly on Carol's case. It's been a month since Zara's surgery, and her recovery is on track. Although her surgeon can't follow up in person, he's been in regular contact. It's aftercare like this that a lot of patients who go to Turkey don't get.
There's some real low points when you've had surgery like that, and you know, my initial thought was, I wish I had never had this done, which is perfectly normal because you're in a lot of pain. I'm 4 weeks into recovery now and I'm already absolutely loving the results. The scar is still very obvious and it's still kind of puckered where the sutures are in place. It'll take a couple of months for some of those to dissolve.
What would your message be to people considering going to Turkey for cosmetic surgery?
It's a huge decision to make, and I think anyone that's thinking about it, you really need to do your research. And people say that and they don't know what it means. Look at your hospital. How is it ranked? Is it a global brand? If not, where are the testimonials? I think the biggest thing is being emotionally prepared, knowing the reasons why I was doing it. For that relief, I wasn't doing it because I thought it was going to change the way I thought about myself.
For Stevie, his memories of Carol are helping him get by, but there's one memory he wishes he could forget.
I wish I could take you into that mortuary for a second to see it and smell it, and you wouldn't let your daughter, your mum, whatever, go there. She deserved better.